Well, hello, sports fans. Larry Eater, RunBlogRun. I'm in San Jose, California, in my dad's office, out here clearing out the house and just looking at all the memories on the walls, family. Parents lived here from 1974 when they moved us from St. Louis. I was at DeSmet, ran cross country and track there in 72 to 74, then went to Bellarmine, finished up there, and then went to Santa Clara University, and then started traveling, working for Runner's World and various other entities. I love going to track meets. In a non-pandemic year, I was hitting 35 to 40. There were days in Europe when I would just go from one track meet to another. Love nothing more than a European Championship, 2 sessions a day, grabbing my espresso, walking around the stadium, talking to people. I'm in my element. And what's been challenging since February of 2020, when the world changed, and I don't think the world's ever going to go back, quite frankly, was the absolute plethora of pop-up meets, bespoke track meets, and road races around the world. From Ben Rosario's marathon project, where a whole group of Americans and Europeans were able to hit big standards, were able to keep their shoe bonus structure going and survive financially. Because when races are canceled, the majority of runners make most of their money from their performances. And it's becoming more and more like that. The world is changing completely in sports marketing. The day of getting a $300,000, $600,000 contract, unless you're literally the very best, are long gone. It's about getting $20,000 for travel, product, and a limited number of shoes a year, because we're having problems with shoes in the pandemic and apparel. And it's based on your performances, how many races you run. Are you in the top 5? Are you in the top 3? Did you set an American record? Did you set a regional record? Did you set a world record? And the people who set the world records, I mean, the gentleman who won recently in New York made $350,000 from his 2:08 marathon. But it was because he achieved all the bonuses. And it was that perfect storm. What's been happening and what's kept the sport alive, though, in the last 18 months have been the likes of impresarios, Jesse Williams, Chris Chavez, and the group at Miles of Trials, Paul Doyle. And that's just name a few. Ben Rosario. Ben does an amazing job. Bowerman Track Club put on a bunch of meets, thanks with help from Michael Bergman in Portlandia. And there were events around the country that satisfied our remote need for the sport. The Diamond League, what they did in 2019 was amazing, because what Monaco did, what Monaco did is at a level that no one else has even come near. What Monaco did at that time by bringing athletes from around the world and allowing them to compete and keeping them safe, they had to have spent, in my estimation, close to $1 million extra doing what they did. From the way they did the food, to the way they sanitized the rooms, to the way they kept people safe, to how they got them in and out of the country. And Monaco's a fantastic meet. Look, I love nothing better than going down to Mentone, staying at my favorite little hotel, the Princess in Richmond, looking at the hills and paying $95 a night, and getting Wi-Fi on the beach when I write my stories. I can do that for a couple of weeks. And the beach is good, and the gelato is good, and the espresso is good. And there's even a great little Middle Eastern place a couple blocks in where I watch Arabic novellas with the cook. So, yeah, you can have fun in Monaco. I know we stay outside of Monaco. It's a little expensive there. Anyway, what Monaco did in 2019 was tremendous. But what Jesse Williams did, the former Brooks sports marketing manager, was pure insanity, but a lovely insanity and a lovely madness. And we're lucky that he's around. And what I mean by that, and Jesse, as you know, Jesse's put up with me before. I'm paying him the highest compliment. He thinks out of the box, as does Paul Doyle, as does Chris Chavez, as do the folks at Miles of Trials. Chris had a conversation with me that raising money was a tough thing for him, but he did it. And it's a little scary. And I know that's how I call it publishing for dollars. I have, I was $1 million in debt with American Athletics magazine, and I paid it all off. And each magazine I added on, we were able to take care of that debt and stay around for over 20 plus years. So I know what raising money is like. I know what trying to run things under a budget's like. But also the extra restrictions, what Jesse told me one time about keeping 40 athletes, fed and safe for a week around a meet. Incredible. He's got cross country stuff coming up December 4th. And then also, not only that, but the quality of much of the streaming has been fantastic. I was frustrated with the quality of Paul Doyle's first meet, but that's because people walked away right before he was getting stuff going, and his budgets were crazy. And thank God USATF came in and helped. My prayer down the road is that USATF and World Athletics puts a budget together, like $500,000. They get a crew to help these people who are doing meets and help improve the quality of the broadcast. Because it's one thing to do the meet and do the meet successfully. It's another meet to try to do a broadcast or do a limited broadcast. What Jesse's been doing, what the Miles of Trials folks did by linking stuff on Instagram, by asking for sponsorships, by what Michael Bergman did with Portlandia. They were charging, I think, $5.99 to $9.99, and so much of it was going to the athletes. And hats off to Craig Masbeck at Nike, because Craig did something that is pretty unusual at Nike, which is think out of the box. As much as Nike gets creative, there's so many people there that are afraid, as in most brands, actually in all brands, they're afraid of doing something wrong. They're afraid of failing. And the problem is, what they don't understand is the way that their brands got there is by screwing up a lot and then learning from those screw-ups. If you don't fall down, you don't run fast, as Brooks Johnson told me. He said it's in the almost falling down and keeping yourself up and learning from those things that make it important. And what the Bespoke meets have done, what Jesse Williams, Miles of Trials folks, Paul Doyle, USATF small meets, Michael Bergman in Portlandia, Portland Track Club have done, is they put on meets, caring for the athletes, and then everything else kind of came together. And there were some fantastic broadcasts, and there was some absolute crap broadcasts. And unfortunately, the ones I hear about are the absolute crap ones. And so that's when I make myself watch them all. And sometimes I find they're not as bad as they could have been. That with a little editing, we could put something together. But our sports world is about instant gratification. And running is so anti-instant gratification. You're not going to run sub 27, 28 with a couple weeks of hard work. It's 15 years of training. It's overcoming injuries. It's finding the right coach. It's doing the core work that perhaps keeps your farm on those last 6 laps. All those things add together. All those things make great stories. What I think we'll see in this next year is, I pray and hope that the quality of the streaming continues to improve. The quality of the storytelling continues to improve. the quality of the performances continue to improve. And you, our viewer, our potential viewer, will put on a pair of running shoes and run or walk. We'll encourage your kid to do that. We'll do A, B, and C. But that's about activation. And what kept the sport alive and why the sport is thriving right now, even with all the dumb things that are going on too, and don't even get me started there, is what's happened with these bespoke meets. It's what's happened with the really specially pop-up meets, what's happened with coaches bringing back cross-country and coming up with new events. This new Garmin event, December 4th, sounds really intriguing. I saw some things from Coach Dave Frank from Central Catholic about it. So there's some exciting things out there. And there's been some exciting things the last year and a half. I wanted to thank the folks who put on the pop-up meets, who put on the bespoke meets, who are working with the video, who are working to give us a good broadcast. The commentators have been a lot of fun, great quality. We've got some real new stars out there too. And we'll talk about that in an upcoming one. But if you get a chance, go on YouTube, check out some of the highlights of some of these streaming ones. Check out Sound Running, check out Miles of Trials, check out Portland Track Club, Portlandia. Check out some of the stuff on USATF. Look at some of the Continental Tour meets, some of the smaller meets. Look at some of the small meets in Europe. You know, the July meeting outside of Budapest by Marton July is in honor of his dad, is one of the best meets in all of Central Europe. What Alphonse Yuke does with Spike, what he does with his indoor meetings, what he does with his outdoor meetings in the Czech Republic, pretty damn impressive. And puts 30,000 people in the stands of the Golden Spike. And Usain Bolt went, Mo Farah went, all the great ones have been there. At a meet that's not a Diamond League. Wow, how does that happen? It's the quality of the meets, it's the quality of the organization, it's the enthusiasm of the meet director and the vision, that vision thing, as President Bush #1 told us. So thanks again. Really think that pop-up meets, bespoke meets, and the streaming kept our sanity during a very trying time. So thanks again. This is Larry Eater. This is Conversations with Larry. And this was in praise of pop-up meets, bespoke meets, and the streaming TV that accompanied both.